Man, it is always good to see you guys. BJ got back. What time did you get in?
12.
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time, as always, to come out. Very, very excited where we're going, where we're pushing this thing for. And, the support that we've had from Bronco Nation, obviously administration, Jeremiah Dickey, we are pushing the envelope. And in all facets, if things are like, well, we haven't really done that yet, it's like, well, why? What's a better way to do things? From recruiting to how we train, everything, we're trying to make sure we push the envelope to have the best, obviously, players we can, develop them the best way, and be ready for the season coming up in the fall for Bronco Nation. So excited where we're going, excited with the players we were able to bring in. Obviously, the early signing day period in December with some of the transfers that we were able to bring in, along with, obviously, a great group of high school players that were able to be on campus now, and some of them will be coming in the summertime. Excited where we're going. And just like anything, we're a developmental program, and we've talked about that a lot, like finding the right high school players that fit Boise State, that are about what we're about, is everything. And, we talk to our team a lot about being built different. Like, we're different here at Boise State. We have a blue field. We do things different. Like, there's how we train, how we treat people, how we work. That's who we are. And finding guys where it means more to them than just another school recruit. It has to. And everybody that's signed here feels that way. They've either sat in my office, coaches' offices, and they know, it's different. I need to be there. That's where I'm going to be developed in the best version of myself. And so everybody that's coming here understands the hard work that's needed, understands what they need to do to be a part of this, and that's what excites me. There's been no smoke and mirrors through this recruiting process with any one of these players, scholarship or preferred walk-on. This is how hard it is. This is what we got to do from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. This is how demanding it's going to be. And we are built different here, and it takes a lot. So very excited about this group, excited for us not only in this first month of training with Coach Hilgart and his staff. It's been awesome. We've taken steps. I'm excited for us to finish up February and then obviously transition into spring ball. With that, guys, open up for questions.
How weird is a day like today? This used to be the day, and now it's like you're adding a walk-on, a gray shirt, but for the most part, there's no suspense or anything today, not adding anybody new. How weird is that?
Yeah, it's 100%, BJ. I mean, it's definitely changed over the years. The month of January used to be, for lack of a better words, kind of holding on to all of your recruits as you push all the way till February. And this is really the day. I mean, as we all know, there are the days of the fax coming through where you're talking to them on the cell phone like, hey, did you send it? And you're waiting for the fax to come through. It's obviously changed a lot. And with the early signing day, it's changed a lot too. Being able to, we went on the road recruiting a little bit less than some staffs because I wanted us around our players. I wanted us to make sure we're holding them to high standards, not only starting fast in the weight room and on the field, but also academically, to make sure we start this semester right. And then also with a group of freshmen and some transfers here to make sure that they understand the standard here and that we're around them through this month of January. But when we went on the road recruiting, primarily it was focused on the 2025 class and kind of working on for the juniors going to be seniors.
It sounds like the rules are going to change for signing day, and I don't exactly know. I'm not that smart yet. But what do you know in terms of the December signing day, maybe moving and transferring? What's the talk amongst your peers in the coaching industry?
Yeah, Mike, there's a lot of talks about it. Nothing's final. There's talks about it being in August. There's talks about it even being earlier. Still working through. Been a lot of calls about thoughts and all those things. Not sure when that's going to change or when there's going to be an actual decision, Mike, but it's definitely talked about a lot. I like where the signing day is now, personally. I feel like you get through your season, and I think my opinion is I believe these recruits need to see. I think if you sign somewhere in August, there's so much movement in regards to either coaches leaving, how a team's doing. I just think it leaves you a little bit too much time for these players, just thinking about the players themselves. And then a high school coach brought up to me, which I thought was a good point, that, Coach, if these guys sign their scholarship before they start the season, what's the motivation for them to even play really well as senior? You hope they do, right? You hope they just love playing the game. But I think there could be chances that it will be a little bit less. So my opinion is I like where the signing days are right now. I think it's clear. You understand that you have guys that have been committed through the whole time that they can sign December, and then the January signing day gives you, the February signing day gives you some times to maybe fill in some of those needs as well. He's doing an awesome job. Since obviously being on campus and us being straight up and forward with him and his family, how hard it's going to be, all the things we talked about, he's been awesome. He's been a great teammate. He's working his tail off. He's getting extra work with quarterbacks and receivers on his own, and he knows he needs to come in here and compete. And that's the awesome part about Malachi and our team is he knows that. Nothing's going to be given to him. He needs to be ready to compete with Mad Dog, and grow in every aspect. And he has. He's been a great addition to our team. Haven't obviously seen him throw the football at all. We can't get into that, but just how he is as a teammate and how he is in regards to how he works, it's been awesome. We were able to spend some time off the field. We go to church together on Sundays with a good group of some other teammates, and just seeing him gel with them has been awesome.
From what you know about him, I guess you said it may not be able to see him watch throw football much right now, but where do you expect him to thrive, and where does he, in your mind, maybe need to grow a little bit to, maybe be a QB1 for you guys?
Yeah, I think just like anything, he's a freshman, and that's the thing that not only from the recruiting process, obviously a very highly touted recruit, rightfully so, but he's a freshman. So there's a lot of things, not only even in the weight room to training to building, putting more body armor on him. There's a lot of things that he's excited to grow in and that we're excited for him to do. Obviously can't really speak to a lot of the football side of things. He's extremely bright in meetings and picking things up. But we'll have a lot better idea of exactly where he is as we go through practice 1 all the way through practice 15. But in my interactions with him, his interaction with his teammates, he's been awesome. He's been low ego, high output, humble and hungry in regards to how he comes to work every day. And that's everything. That's everything, obviously, for the quarterback, but for any position on our team. Because no different, the same thing I'm telling you guys, the same thing I'm telling our guys. You could be a 2-year starter here. You could have just walked on campus. Nothing will be given to you. Everything will be earned. There are no, well, you're the starter for 2024. No, we got a lot of work left to do. We've got a lot of work left to do. There's a lot of things that still need to be figured out at all positions, all 22 on O&D and special teams. So that's the thing we're bringing into our guys, that just because you've either been here or you just walked on campus, nothing's going to be given. You got to compete for everything you get.
How much did NIL come up when you were recruiting him?
Hardly at all. Because the guys that we recruit, they need to want to be here. Why? It's different for everybody. But either the structures, the place, how we're going to grow them as people. We talk about all the time being the best version of yourself. And for the guys that we're looking for, that it will come up through conversation. We'll have those conversations as we go through, but it is by no means something that is a defining factor for guys coming here. That's not what I believe in. It's not what we believe in. It's about finding the right fit for this place and them having a very clear understanding, Ron, what it takes to be a Boise State football player and where we need to go. So for us, is go find the right fit. If it becomes about things outside of development, outside of competing, outside of the things that we focus on a lot, they're probably not a fit for us. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're a bad kid or a bad person. It's not a fit for Boise State. And us being true to that, once again, we talk about being built different. It takes a different type of guy to come here. They have to compete in everything they do, from practice to in the weight room. And that's the standards we hold here.
Malachi is a guy that doesn't necessarily need NIL money. He made quite a bit before he ever got to USC. I mean, in a way, is that part of what makes him a perfect fit here, that he's not interested in the NIL because he's already done it in the past?
What makes Malachi Nelson a perfect fit here, Ron, is he wants to continue to grow and develop to be not only an elite quarterback, but an elite individual. That's who he is, right? That's how his family's raised him, being around his mom and his dad, phenomenal people, and how they've not only grown him, but the rest of his siblings. He fits here because he's like, Coach, I want to develop. I want to be the best quarterback I can be. I want to be the best person I can be. And I know that's what you guys are about. We tell people we are a developmental program. It's not about just finding needs and if you can't do it, we move on. Like, we want to develop people. And I believe in developing people. They will always be better football players. He wanted that. And that was my initial conversation with his dad, with him, with every single one of these players. We talk about Malachi a lot, but there's a lot of other really good football players that are coming to Boise State football that we need. And it's all been the same. How hard it's going to be, the standards we hold, and where we're going to need to push this forward, and how we're going to develop you as a person for life. I care about when they leave here the type of husband, father they are. Like, that matters to me. And developing them in that way, that will always make sure they make the right decision on 4th and 1 too, right? But it's developing those people.
I don't think we've talked to you publicly since Chris Marshall came. How's he fitting in, and kind of just your thoughts on him?
Yeah, Chris has been awesome. He's focused. He knows that he needs this place. And we've talked a little bit about it. With Chris, obviously, he's had some stuff off the field. He's gotten himself into some issues prior to coming to Boise State. As a football staff, as administration, we did tireless research going through it to make sure talking to coaches, prior places, had long talks, obviously, with his parents, everybody around his life. And because we are very protective of our locker room. We're very protective of this place. Who we bring here is everything to me. It has nothing, we will never bring someone here just because they're a good football player. It has to be who they are mentally too. Obviously, football and their talent level starts the conversation because we want to find the best football players as well, but you got to find the right people first. And with going through it with Chris, going through the situations he's been in and going through it with people that are surround him, we believe that this is a place that he can come, he can develop, and we know that we have the structures in place to where he can be very focused. It is football, it is school, it's about being the best version of himself, and he knows that. He was very adamant as we recruit him that he knows that that's exactly what he wants as well. It's not that just what we want for him, he wants that. He wants those structures where he can work, grow, develop, and be the best football he can be, the best football player he can be. And BJ, along the way, obviously continue to grow as a young man and make the right decisions, maybe not the easy ones in situations, to where he can grow and develop here. So the couple weeks he's been here with his teammates, with his coaches, he's done a great job. Obviously, we're only, so long into this semester, but he's also very aware that this is his shot. This is what it is. This is what you got. He's going to be held to a very high standard, just like everybody on our team, and we're not changing for anybody. And he knows that and is very aware of it.
When you do recruit these guys that, you have had a history in the past, do you often see that they do realize that, yes, this is my last chance and appreciate it a little bit more?
Yeah, I would believe, in my opinion, that it's case-by-case basis, and actions prove everything, right? You can say as much as you want, and these young men, they got to prove it with their actions. They got to prove it with their actions when they are here as well. But also the people that are around them that can really feel their heart and getting to know these individuals too, that they want to improve. And they also know they need to. And they know that the structures they have in place here, how we're going to develop them, how we're going to make this a situation where they can learn from the mistakes in the past, grow and develop here to make sure you don't make them in the future, is everything. But I do believe for guys that have potentially had issues in the past and have had things that have gotten them in trouble, they know that this is the shot they need. And this is all they got. And there's a streamlined focus to know I have to handle business. I got to do exactly what I'm told, or I'm not going to have this shot either. And I know I need this.
In terms of a talent, just what kind of wrinkle does he add to your offense?
Yeah, very explosive receiver. Obviously, he was a basketball player most of his life. Really came on the scene as a football player as a junior, but long, athletic, can run, phenomenal catch radius, and a big-time competitor. I mean, you see that when you watch his basketball film, football film. I mean, that ball in the air, he's going to find a way to get it. So football-wise, very excited for who he is, but I'm excited for him to grow and develop to be the best version of himself. To talk with him, there's nothing I want more than him to grow to become the best man he can be here. Football will take care of itself for Chris, and in the long run, he's going to be an influence for young kids down the road too, to make sure that he helps them and has a legacy in the future.
Spencer, that you said that we know we have the structures in place for a guy like Chris. As much as you can say, like what's going to be, what is that structure about, or is there a theme to that structure? I guess. Yeah,
and Jay, not just for Chris, for our players, because I'm a big believer in structures so that players can remain focused. There's a lot going on in college football, from transfer portal, NIL, coaches. Like, there's just so many things that maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago wasn't even an issue. You signed in signing day, and it was like, I'm going to be there for 4 to 5 years. That's changed now. And so a goal for me with every player on our team, using Chris as an example, though, is just focus in on every part of their life to create structures. Where they live, is that the right living situation, so you're not too far away from campus, where you can be here a lot because you need to be. School-wise, making sure that's set up for them. Car, is it best for you to have a car, is it not? Okay, how do you get to campus? Just creating structure. What are you doing on Saturday? What's our plan every Saturday? What's our plan on Sundays? Do you want to go to church? Is that something you want to be a part of? Creating structures in their life and being upfront about it to where, okay, I know where you're at because your life matters to me. And this isn't just for him, it's for the rest of our team. So then they can keep their focus. Because the quickest way to develop, to be the best version of yourself as a coach or as a player, is you lose focus. You focus on the things that you can't control and that don't really mean anything in the long run, right? And you lose focus on the things that really will change your life, is the hard work, the academics, being the right person and growing in that is really what's going to change. But if you lose focus and focus on things you don't, it's going to be hard. So we want to, with all our players, from the position coaches to me, every single one of their lives, we try and create structures to where they can focus on development in football, development in the classroom, and obviously how they live their life when they're not around us matters, and how they can do that the right way.
How did you guys come across Tevin Griffey?
So it was kind of a long story, to be honest, Jay, but a guy that I know well that's a part of Boise State football. Got to know the Griffey family a little bit, and when Tevin entered the portal, had a conversation with him, had a conversation with Ken Griffey Jr., and obviously had a conversation with his mom, and they're phenomenal people. And the whole time it was just about Boise State, kind of what we are about, and if that was something that Tevin wanted to be a part of, talking with him and his family. Got him up on a visit. I know the initial part, to be honest, when all the coaches met Ken Griffey Jr., there's a little bit of just wow factor, but Tevin is a phenomenal young man. I mean, if he was in this room right now, he would be smiling ear to ear, cracking a joke. Great personality, very driven, and he gets that from his parents. And he's becoming his own person. I told him, Tevin, this is not about your family. This is about you. Is this the best fit for you to become the best version of yourself? And as we talked through this process, it was. And getting to know his family and who they are, they're phenomenal people. And so it's been awesome to get to know them and get to know them more. And since Tevin's been on campus, he's done nothing but work his tail off and continue to grow.
Spencer, back to Malachi, in terms, I'm not sure how much you scripted spring ball and how that's going to work out, but it's going to be CJ and Malachi. And I know you got a couple of other arms, but the focus is going to have to be on those two. How are you going to structure that?
No, good question, Mike. We're still working through that. Obviously, with spring ball about a month away, because competition is going to be everything. And not only how we script practice in regards to who's getting what reps, team periods. Are we getting enough 2-minute in there to see how quarterbacks, but offense and defense as a whole, operate in these critical situations? So, Mike, it's honestly something that we're going through as a staff this week. Should really have pretty much the entire spring ball laid out from scripts to periods by the end of this week into early next week, so we can make sure that at the quarterback position, but also at all positions, when you leave spring ball, not only do we have a really good idea of where they're at, I want that young man, whoever it is, to have a really good idea about it too. Not because they didn't have enough opportunities, not because it wasn't, set up in a situation. I want us all to be on the same page, because then at the end of spring, every single player on our team meets with me again. And this is where you're on the depth chart. This is who you are. This is where you are from strength and conditioning, academics. So, Mike, it's a full evaluation at the end of spring. And it's hey, Mike, this is exactly where you are right now. Not maybe a random opinion. This is black and white. This is how you are academically, in the weight room, in life, training room, and obviously on the football field and where they see their role. So we're still working through that in regards to reps and who's going to get what, but competition is going to be high. So for them and for us as a coaching staff, we can see exactly where they are and where they need to grow and develop. And Maddox Madsen will be able to, as we go through spring, get a little bit. He's obviously still recovering from his knee, but hopefully as we go through spring, he'll be able to get potentially some reps. So we're still kind of unclear of exactly how much, but as we go through spring, he'll be able to get some.
More than just throwing reps?
Still working through it, Mike, and I'm not telling you. I know our trainers are still kind of working through some things, because Maddox is working his tail off in the training room. That's just who he is. So hopefully as we get kind of later in spring, potentially some 7-on-7, maybe even some team as we go. That's still a little bit up in the air.
But by August 1st, there's no concern whatsoever that
No,
it would be 100%?
no, 100%. He'll be ready to roll. Yep.
I don't know how much you can say about this, but what's Jalen Clark's status with the team?
Guys, right now I'm going to have to say no comment on that. Appreciate it.
Anything else?
You mentioned some of the structure that you're exposing everyone to, but with NIL, that opens kind of a new wrinkle with guys having more money than they were maybe in the past had access to. Do you guys have some sort of like financial literacy classes that you have them take? I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, there's some different either people or classes that will educate them on, and some of it is either particular to one individual or a couple individuals. Sometimes is with the whole team. So as much education as we can give them, either on this new space, which is NIL, what it is, but then also, even from taxes to how to handle that the right way, there's just a lot of different levels of this that I want to make sure our players are educated on and understand, and just what is name, image, and likeness. Like, it's not just handouts. Like, this is stuff, this is, there's a business part of this thing, and just so they can understand and be educated on that model. So there's a lot of education going on, and even some things, to be honest, that I'm even trying to crank up and do more with. Because like we kind of talked about even prior to, and this is a little bit tangent from your question, I apologize, but we're a developmental program. Said that, I know, probably too much, but we're a developmental program. We do want to find the right transfers that can come in and maybe meet some specific needs, but it is all about finding guys that want to come and develop. If it's a one-year guy or the majority of the freshmen we come in, that's how we recruit, and that's why I recruit. I mean, we had, we'll recruit guys like Clay Martineau's a linebacker. He's a 4-star now. We didn't recruit Clay because we thought there was a chance he could be a 4-star. We recruited Clay because we knew he fit here. We knew he fit here from a football standpoint. Long, athletic, can run, loves football, great family. It didn't matter that he became a 4-star a couple weeks ago, but I believe he's that talented without question. But it's about finding the right fit that wants to come here, develop, and understand that we're built different here, and there's a confidence in that.
You obviously hired an assistant coach from Ball State. What did he play, or what role did he have in getting Tavion here, and what do you think of Tavion?
Yeah, obviously, whenever someone transfers, the first thing, you know a little bit about them. You could look at how tall they are, how big they are. I end up watching some initial film quickly, and then right away it's who are they as a person. And so with knowing Tyler Stockton at that point when Tavion was in the portal, it was awesome to be able to have someone, he was his defensive coordinator, to know strengths, weaknesses, who is he mentally, how hard does he work, and be able to get that direct feedback from his defensive coordinator. And then obviously we brought Tavion on a trip, got to know his dad, his mom, phenomenal people. He's got 1 year left of eligibility. Can't wait to grow and develop and continue to push. And he's done a great job the month he's been here.
What can you tell us about Sincere Brackett Lambie?
Sincere Brackett is a awesome young man. And getting to know him, his dad, his mom, the rest of his siblings, I really believe the sky's the limit for him, just in regards to who he is as a person. If he was in here right now and talking to you guys, you would leave, be like, whoa. That's an impressive young man. Obviously, where we're at scholarship-wise is why he's going to be a gray shirt. So he'll be here next January 2025. But I've seen him play in person. I've seen him at camps. Extremely explosive. Obviously, at linebacker, you've got to be able to lead not only yourself but the whole defense when you're out there. And I saw him time after time do that. Matt Logan, the head coach at Centennial, has done it at an extremely high level for a long time. And when he says coach is one of my favorite players I've coached, the biggest leader on our team, that says a lot. And that carries a lot of weight with me. And then when I see it, sky's the limit for Sincere. Not only just with football, I'm excited for him to come here next January and grow and develop, but who he's going to be in our locker room, who he's going to be amongst his teammates is going to help them grow too.
What's his connection to Michael Vick?
I have no idea. But I saw that video, and I was excited to see it. I was like, great, I had no idea. That's a good question, though.
His dad and longtime friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's like an unofficial uncle.
Yeah.
Is there any film out there with Troy going across Trevor McKenna at the 5A SIC game or anything?
We got to find some if we don't, Jay. We'll at least turn the competition up when we go through. But Troy's a great young man. Even while I was the interim head coach going through this, he would come out to, when it was opened up, able to come out to some of the practices and see us, and just getting to know him as a young man was awesome. Love his high school coaches. They've grown and developed him a ton. But not only the stock he's from, in regards to his family, his high school, he fits here. Not just because he's from down the street, but he fits here. He's all about the work. Every time we talk to him, he's either leaving the weight room or going to the weight room. He's that type of young man. I'm excited for him to grow and develop. He's got a great frame, explosive athlete. I'm excited for him.
Do you anticipate him more being a long snapper or seeing time on the defensive line?
Right now, way more focused in regards to defense. Like, I think he has long snapping ability, but definitely playing defensive end or stud, which is what we call our edge position. Either one, very long, very explosive. Those bodies are hard to find, especially with the right mental makeup.
You mentioned the scholarship numbers. Where are you scholarship number-wise? I know it can kind of shuffle in the spring a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have that right off the top of my head, BJ. But it's definitely going to shuffle down through spring. Right now, we're in a really good place. Feel good about our team, our roster. But there's going to be shakedowns as we go through spring and into the summer. I don't have those exact numbers off the top of my head. Yeah, we'll see as it goes. Like, right now, we're right where we should be. But there's going to be change. That's how it always is as you go through spring. I hope not, because I love our team. I love our players. But right now, we're right where we should be.
Spencer, your thoughts on how Ashton Chinty should be promoted in the offseason, and would you specifically endorse some kind of offseason official university promoted Heisman campaign before the season even starts?
I think anything to promote Ashton, I'm all about. Knowing also because I know Ashton. He is one of the most focused, driven young men I've ever been around. Seeing him at the morning workouts, that man is on a mission. And with all the hype and things going on, which he deserves, it would be easy for someone to lose focus and focus on some of those things. He has not. And anything I can do to support him, to publicize him, every time I'm asked, anything I can do, because he deserves it. It's not because I think he does. I see him. His actions deserve it. Not only what he's done this first 2 seasons here, but even what he's done this month in January. I mean, he is bringing guys with him. If someone's not upholding the standard in regards to how he works, Ashton Genty's on him like this. And not only is he doing that, he's holding himself to the highest standard. I mean, that young man's on a mission. And that's the biggest way that I can say it.
Have those meetings started? Have you guys started having meetings about that?
I can answer that question.
Yeah, I haven't had those meetings with him much, Mike. My focus is just on how he's going to grow and develop this year. But any of those things I would be open for. I just want to make sure our whole team stays focused, because there's a lot of great opportunities. When you live in an area like Boise, where Bronco Nation loves sport, there's a lot of opportunities. And I want our guys to have those opportunities, whatever they are, in the right way to do them. But I just always want to make sure our guys don't lose focus, because that's the quickest way to not only not let them grow and develop Mike to be the best version of himself, it's how we will be pulled apart as a team.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks, fellas.
What is up?
Bush, it seemed like you had a relationship with Malachi before he got here. Can you just tell us about that and just what you know about him?
Yeah, I think we placed an offer to him in the 9th grade when we were at Washington. Just you remember these recruiting trips that you have, and I think at that time, I mean, you look at the players now. It was Bryce Young was out there, C.J. Stroud was out there, Jaden Daniels was out there, and Mal was kind of the young guy in that region, and so. Just a guy you identify early in the process, knew he was going to be special, and we're sure excited to have him here.
What does it take to?
What's that? Not very much, and when you have Chris Peterson, you kind of got to keep it on the DL, so, but I just remember seeing him at that camp, and it was a little bit more of a funny thing at the time, but just wanted to establish that at that time.
What did you see out of him in that camp that made you know he was that special?
Yeah, I was just really impressed. Just natural throwing ability. I thought he had a command at that camp, a level of focus, of wanting to get better from a coachability standpoint. So, again, probably part of the problem when you offer a guy that early, but sometimes you just see a guy and you decide to go in that direction.
You look at him and some of the other offensive weapons you added in the portal. Just how excited are you with all that you have to work with this fall?
Yeah, we're really excited. I think we were extremely aggressive again at certain positions. Most notably, probably that receiver position. Cam Camper's a guy that, again, one of my best friends coached him at Indiana. Felt there was an opportunity to go get an elite player at that position. Obviously with Chris's situation, getting Mal in here. But we're really excited about the guys we got coming back, and make no mistake about that. So I think it's going to be the infusion of that new talent with the guys we got and creating something special.
Sometimes when you hit the transfer portal for a guy, with a Big Ten school, it's like his practice tape that you see out there. With him, he's got like legit tape. I mean, you look at what he did 2 years ago. I mean, he was on track to put up some monster numbers in Indiana's offense. So, given some of his injury history, how healthy is he right now, and how do you feel like he is going to fit in here?
Yeah, Jay, I think you said it. I mean, Camp is one of those guys. I remember asking in the evaluation process, I said, hey, can this guy be a big-time Mountain West receiver? And to a T, everybody I talked to is, no, if this guy stays healthy, he can be a big-time Big Ten receiver, you know. So I think you hit the nail on it. We got to keep him fresh, keep him healthy. His rehab process is going to be critical, but we're extremely excited about him, not just from the standpoint of his play history, but just the leadership he can bring, the veteran leadership for a guy that's been there and done that.
What will he be able to do in the spring? Anything at all? Or?
Yeah, I think, you know, we're certainly going to get him out there, you know, running routes day by day. I don't think we're going to have him, you know, have much contact, but certainly want to just make sure, you know, the confidence is built for him with his leg and his knee and get him to where he's got to get to.
With Chris Marshall, I mean, obviously, you know, has some stuff in the past, but you guys, what'd you see to take a chance on him, and what's his on the field kind of potential for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, for me, it's like I just don't ever want to, you know, resist the responsibility of coaching. You know, like that's our job to me, right? Is not everybody's a ready-made product, and I don't feel you can turn down guys that aren't maybe just ready-made on day one. I think, you know, in my talks with him, it's a guy that has a serious dream of being an NFL player and a focus to do that, and I'm extremely excited about taking that step with him every step of the way, and all of our guys. What do I think potentially from Chris Marshall? I mean, you know, he needs to be a draft pick, you know, and that's as honest as I can be about it. I think he's #1 wide receiver in the class of 2022. I remember evaluating him again when I was at a previous school, and I just drew that line. It was like it was him, and then it was a bunch of other guys. And so the opportunity to get a talented player like that, again, our job to bring him into this type of culture. What better place in the country to bring him into than a place like Boise State? You know, we're excited about the opportunity.
How aggressive you were at wide receiver, kind of, especially in the transfer portal, I guess. You also get Latrell back. It seemed like, you know, last year with the wide receivers, Ashton was the best in the country probably with the ball in his hands after catch, after contact, whatever. I don't know how dynamic the receiver group was after the catch for the most part. So is that an area you can grow in, and can these guys do that?
Yeah, it's obviously something we have addressed. You know, I think, Jay, the biggest thing is just the health, if you will, of all of those guys, right? We look at, you mentioned Latrell. Latrell, we think, can be one of the more dynamic players in this conference, if not on the West Coast. He's got to stay healthy, right? We got glimpses of Austin Bolt and what he could do. I think the one guy is just maybe from a youth standpoint would be Prince. Chase Penry's a guy that did some good things, got hurt, right? So it's, I think we've realized the amount of depth we need at that position. I remember going into weeks where we probably had 4 scholarship guys that were ready to roll in big games. And so for us, what we feel like we've done is create a lot of competition in that room. I think those guys understand that, and we really hope the competition is going to bring the best out of guys.
Is Latrell good to go for, what will his status be for spring?
Yeah, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but he's another guy. He's good to go, but we're certainly going to be, you know, monitoring his workload, making sure that he is easing back into things and feeling healthy.
What's Malachi's workload right now? What are you learning about him, study habits? You know, how serious is he taking this thing?
A lot. You know, that guy's got a lot of work to do, and I say that in a funny way. I just think, you know, here's a guy that was a freshman. He himself has been banged up at his time at USC and was limited there practicing-wise. So he's been awesome. You know, I think that's always step one, is gaining the respect of your teammates, and he's done a tremendous job with that, which we really felt he would just by the type of person he is. But you know, certainly doing a good job of getting in here, familiarizing himself with the different terms and the language and the offense, because as we know, once spring ball starts, I mean, these practices are going to be critical for him.
I think we all know kind of the competitor that Mad Dog is, but what's his reaction been to, you know, the shakeup in the QB room as he kind of comes back from that kind of significant injury?
Yeah, I think there was good communication with Maddox. I mean, I think he knows, you know, I probably don't love anybody on this team as much as him, you know what I mean? And so he knew we were going to take a guy. And I think naturally that guy's somewhat been that underdog his whole life, if you will. And so when I placed the call, I said, hey, it's either going to be him or it's going to be him. He's like, awesome, just another guy, you know, in my way type thing. And so it's going to be a quarterback room that is going to be competitive. And that's what we want to do at all phases of every position on this offense, is make it as competitive as possible. But I also think for many, many years here at Boise State, there's also been that part of rallying behind guys and doing it together and doing whatever's best for the team. So,
with I mean, losing George in the running back room, you know, you guys don't hit the portal there. You're just curious your makeup of the room, and is Breezy ready to kind of be that complement to Ashton in a bigger fashion than he was even last year?
yeah, I think it's got to be one of the deepest groups, you know, on this football team, and again, maybe if not in the nation. I think there's a bunch of explosive guys. I know we've talked about it, the high-end talent of Genty, but Jay, you really mentioned it. I mean, you look at Breezy, you look at what Tyler Crow has done here, you look at Sire Gaines, you look at Caden Dudley's one of those guys that for an off-season project is a guy we're really excited about figuring out how we're going to get him more touches. So extremely deep group. Again, long history of great running back play here at Boise, and we just hope to continue that.
Bush, overall, just, I mean, and you've been at places with a lot of talent. You mentioned the Indiana kid, you want a draft pick. I know you have those expectations for Genty and a lot of other players. How do you compare these toys, what you have, compared to when you were at Washington and the SEC?
Yeah, I think there's certainly a handful of guys on this team that can play anywhere in the country, and we're excited about that. With that being said, as you guys know, I mean, I don't take it lightly too. You got Oregon, you got Oregon State, you got Washington State in the first 5 games, you know. So we're certainly excited. But if anything has hit me here in the short while being back is we got to be ready, and we got to be ready early. You know, there are no days of maybe you have one opening game and then you got conference play and you play the big one at the end. I mean, we saw what it was like last year, Washington, Memphis, back-to-back with UCF. I mean, this is big boy ball. They got really good players. They got really good resources, so we're going to have to get going.
Just for you personally, I mean, like the last 2 months of last season was insane.
Yeah.
For you just to be here today and be able to attack this thing again,
Yeah.
like just where's your mind at, and in terms of, you know, still being here and really knowing all those guys in the locker room and you know, moving forward.
Yeah, I think you get in some ways maybe numb to it. You know, just every year you just never really know exactly what to expect. But I do think there's a level of resiliency of the guys in this room who have gone through it in the hardest way. You know, certainly when Andy got let go in the middle of the year, yeah, just a lot of not knowing, you know, a lot of, hey, what's going to be the next move? How do we stay focused and do this thing the right way for the seniors and the players? And so, you know, to make it out for that year to me was really impressive. But as we know, there's no carryover to the next year. You know, the next year will present its own set of issues, and we got to be ready to go.
On Twitter, you kind of revealed you're trying to find new ways to get Matt Lauder maybe involved. What NFL game were you kind of dissecting there? And then what is there a tight end you feel like you look at and see, like, man, that's how we can use Matt?
Yeah, not necessarily one in particular, but I just think that position in general, you know, and can be such a beneficial position when you've got a tight end that's willing to do what Matt does from a physicality standpoint in the run game, and certainly stretch the field vertically. I don't know if there's one tight end, but just always looking at different ways. I know, you know, going back to previous stops, we had a guy, K-Dot, now who's in Tampa, a kid by the name of Hunter Bryant, who was extremely successful for us. So I think you always look at, you know, you have in your mind, okay, we know Genty's going to have to get X amount of touches, but there's certainly 3 or 4 guys that we're also going, how can we be creative and catch defenses off guard?
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Appreciate you all.
Coach, sincere bracket. Seems like you got here late in the process, but I mean, big kid. Came from a really good program. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I really like him as a person. We had the opportunity to see him at the Redlands camp the past summer, and we were kind of down the road in the process with a lot of other players already. So a guy that kind of came available late, but we knew about him for a long time, and I think he brings a lot of, like you've seen on most of the signing class, a lot of position versatility, a lot of speed. At that camp, I watched him play middle linebacker. We moved him over to some of the edge rush drills and saw how he did in those packages as well. So to have the in-person contact with him and just get a chance to know him and hear his story a little bit was a major selling point to all of us, I think.
I talked to him. He mentioned how there's so much responsibility that comes with being a middle linebacker. You got to be a leader of the defense. What does it mean that he already understands that at such a young age?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Sometimes guys in high school are see ball, get ball guys, and then they gotta get to college and they gotta set the front and they gotta set the formation and they may have to change a call and they may have to, alert everybody to down and distance and what personnel's on the field. So those guys wear the big hat a lot of times in the defense and along with the safeties in the back end. But those middle linebackers, they control a lot and it's a heavy burden on those guys. But the guys that accept it early and understand that's what they have to do to get on the field, I think that smooths the process along a little bit.
You step into the DC role, and you're so focused on a position group previously, and now you kind of get that aerial of the whole defense. You're through the recruiting process. Like, what was it in your mind that you wanted to see, added to this defense that would help suit you and what you want to do on defense?
Yeah, first off, the defense. Spencer's still going to be involved. He's the head football coach. He's coached defense for a long time. We're not going to walk away from a system that he's familiar with because he wants to not necessarily micromanage the situation, but be able to come down and talk with the guys and help those guys out a little bit. So he'll still be involved. It'll still be based around the system he's built. Some of the things that we wanted to add, he had talked about adding. We had previously had that conversation between him and myself about things that maybe we could tweak or things that we could bring in the off season, and those are still things we're exploring. Just like Bush said, watching a lot of NFL film, some of it translates to the college game on defense, some of it doesn't, but more in the way I guess they're building those pressure packages and how can we make it more user friendly for the young men playing football for us, where they can do a lot or present a lot and still do it really fast, and it may be a little for us, but a lot for the opposing offense. So I think just tweaking some of those pressure packages, getting some new ideas on third down, those are kind of the major things that will be, I guess, quote-unquote, changing going forward.
Anything else?
Erik, a lot of roster changes, a lot of new faces with this entire football team. It seems like about 2/3 of those are new additions on defense, and so the emphasis obviously was there based on your guys' actions. Where do you feel most comfortable about where this football team got better this offseason in defense?
Yeah, well, I just feel like overall speed, speed at just about every position on defense. And we have a lot of returning guys coming back, whether old in age or experience, which is a really, really good thing. And then I think we've brought in a lot of guys that can either compete to take those spots, help on special teams, or get on the field in a package right away just because of the speed that they bring to the team. So I think that the game is ever evolving. It's changing positionally as well as schematically. So to be able to have some players with position versatility and also get enough speed on the field versus these spread operations was critical for us in the recruiting process.
You brought in some new coaches on the defensive side as well. How are their ideas and stuff with Tyler and bringing in Stacy? How's that kind of fitting in?
Yeah, those guys are so far they're exceptional coaches. They've been great in the room. They bring a lot of ideas, and the funny thing is like you guys watch a lot of football. It's not like it's a dramatically different scheme no matter where you're at. Some people may be 3 down, some 4 down, but eventually we get to the same things. But they have some different twists on things or things that make things better. Just like Coach Collins the other day, we're talking about a pressure that's been run here for a long time, and he said a very simple thing that could have a dramatic impact on that pressure. So like those are the cool things, along with some additions like Jay is talking about, but also some tweaks to the things that we're currently doing that can make it just that much better, just move those margins a little bit.
Talk about Ahmed, where he is right now, and the better he gets, does that allow you to do more things with him on the field?
Yeah, obviously, the more value you bring to the program, the more chances you get in different packages, and it's all going to depend on what Ahmed feels most comfortable with. You want to do a lot with some guys, but sometimes when you do too much with them, you take away from what they're really good at. And that guy, he's really good at stopping the run, and he's really good at rushing the passer. So what we have to find out is, can he do that from multiple positions? Is it better just to line him up and let him go? But Ahmed his journey in football is probably halfway, maybe less, just because of where he started and the ascent that he's been on. So I think his ceiling is still very high. We'll see that here, and we're going to see that continue on Sunday for years down the road. So, but his journey is not even close to being at the top yet.
Whether it's Woodard or Weggis or Andrew Simpson, how important is it for another pass rusher to step up and kind of pair with Ahmed?
Yeah, obviously, you want to not let the offense dictate to where they're going to put the protection, right? And Jaden Virgin came a long ways, and then we've got obviously Andrew Simpson can do some nice things in the pass rush game. Tavion's here now, and you never know, some of these other guys that we've got coming with some speed on defense. Easy's got some real speed, coming in blitz packages, and I know they rushed him off the edge a lot, so we're going to be able to see some of those things. But to be able to control both edges and also be able to have some speed coming up the middle is huge when you're trying to not only rush the quarterback but leverage the quarterback in the pocket.
What do you know about Jeremiah Irby, and what do you love about this kid? What's his ceiling?
Yeah, obviously the recruiting process is a lot shorter with the transfer guy. I had the opportunity over the Christmas break to have a lot of conversations with him. I love the young man just in his attitude, his maturity, the way he approaches this deal. Obviously, he's been at big-time football before, so it's not like a freshman guy coming in and doesn't really know what's going on. He's adjusted fast. He's adapted fast. He's got good film out there. I don't exactly know what his ceiling is because I haven't ever seen him play football yet. But I know just in the weight workouts and all those kind of things, he's a guy that I would expect big things from. In the attitude probably more than anything with him.
Where does Tavion fit in? Where's he fit on your defense as an older guy?
Yeah, so obviously looking for depth at both edge positions, and not just depth, creating competition in practice. Those edge guys, you guys all know Ahmed's a really good football player. Like there's no getting around that. But do you ever want to not have somebody compete with him? No. So we're looking for guys that could not only come be depth guys and take some reps, but also compete with those. And then just like we talked about before, if he happens to be the next best, then, we're going to have two defensive ends on the field, at one time instead of maybe having a quote unquote what we call the stud. So that competition will shake itself out in the spring. We'll see how he does. Once again, he's played a lot of football. He's got film out there, but I've never seen him practice with us. I've never seen him practice against our offensive line, which I think is a tremendous group. So we're gonna find out what he can do pretty quick.
Did you baseball guy at all?
A little bit.
What was your reaction when you saw first heard the name Griffey and maybe rolling through here?
Well, I was a baseball fan growing up in the 90s and in 2000s was my baseball pedigree. It's kind of drifted away a little bit. We're pretty busy right now, but that was pretty exciting. Obviously, you see that name and you don't think there's any affiliation. Then you find out who the father is. And then to have him come in here, like I was trying. I hate the photo shoot, right? I'm trying to get a photo, but it was very exciting to have him in there. And then the interesting thing is, like, obviously we know he's got a lot of physical talent, the father, right? Ken, and talking to him though, just about how he thinks about things, the mental side of the game, you understand very quickly why he's a Hall of Fame baseball player, and it's exciting to get one of his children in here, not because of who his dad is, but the way that he's grown up and the way he's been trained and the athletic ability that he has, and to see that carry over. And now he's not Ken Griffey Jr.'s son anymore. Now he's a Boise State Bronco, right? And so he's going to get a chance to make his own path, and I think that's pretty exciting for everybody around.
You guys been around, you know, the game for a while. We talked with Spencer about it, but them altering signing day dates, and just curious your thought on how it is now. If you'd like to see anything different, is there anything that you should think should be changed or corrected?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that are going on now that are probably not in the best interest of coaches and or prospects. Signing day now, having two, I don't know. It's a little wild. Should you be able? There's a lot of people that think that as soon as an offer goes out, those young men should be able to accept it and sign, and that would keep a lot of fake offers from being thrown out there. But the offer is different than it was a long time ago. So I don't think that, should there be things that are changed? Yeah, probably. But I think you just have to always adjust with college football, and how can you make it work for your specific program. Boise State's got an unbelievable space in the current landscape, and we will always use that to our advantage. And I think that's, instead of focusing on what should be different, we need to focus on how can we make it work best for us. But
Last one.
Whether you, I don't want pressure of that. Everybody good? Okay, good. Okay, all right. Stacy Collins. I don't know if you ever had a previous interaction with him prior to him coming back here, but whether the answer is yes or no to that. What's been your take since he has been back here for about a month or so?
no, shook his hand a couple times, did not know him. Every person I talked to that's had contact with him, worked with him, coaches that he recruited their school, couldn't say enough great things about him. So far, he's been an unbelievable addition. I mean, obviously, anytime you get somebody with the kind of experience that he's got, he's coached multiple positions, he's been at multiple places, he's recruited a lot of great student athletes, but just getting to work and him being a guy, like I couldn't think of a better guy to have here to come into this program and be part of it. I think he's a special person and a special coach.
All right, thank you all.
All right, thanks, guys.